Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuscaloosa Historic Preservation Commission's hearing. Today is September 11th, 2024, and the time is 5 o'clock p.m. My name is Jordan Morris, and I am the Vice Chair of the Historic Preservation Commission, and I would like to ask my fellow commission members to introduce themselves, starting at my left, please.
Sally Davis.
Wayne Yarborough.
Matt McCool.
Mary Harmon Young.
I would also like to introduce our city staff in attendance with us tonight. They are Mr. Hudson Cheshire with the Assistant City Attorney, Mr. Jonathan Bowen, Neighborhood Resources Coordinator, and Ms. Leota Coyne, Planner. Mr. Kevin Jones is also available to help us with video production and sound. The general purpose of the HPC is that we serve to preserve and protect the buildings, sites, and structures of historic significance and interest in Tuscaloosa's historic neighborhoods. We are governed by Chapter 20, Article 2 of the Code of Tuscaloosa, which includes design guidelines that are posted on the city's website. Our decisions are based on these design guidelines and do not consider use or occupancy. We do consider such factors as architectural style, appropriateness of materials, and how the structure relates to other structures in the immediate neighborhood in determining the appropriateness of the application. Any approval of an application requires 5 affirmative votes. If the certificate is approved, please be aware that there will be a final inspection by city staff of approved applications to ensure compliance with what was approved by the commission. This is a public hearing. It is televised live on local cable, streamed online through Facebook, and is being recorded to be posted on the city's website. We ask proper decorum, civility, and respect for others at all times. Prior to this meeting, notice was sent to adjacent property owners, and the public has been notified of the applications to be presented tonight. This hearing is a chance for the applicant to present his or her case, for the public to make their views known about the project, and for the commission members to gather relevant facts about the application before making its decision. City staff will introduce the application. The applicant will have the chance to make any comments. The commissioners will then have an opportunity to ask the applicant questions about the case, and I will then open the floor for public comment. At the close of public comment, the commission will then discuss the matter and vote on the application. Any person wishing to speak on behalf of another person, group, or entity shall provide written authorization to the chairperson from the person, group, or entity being represented. Immediate family members defined as a spouse, parent, or child do not have to provide such written authorization when speaking on behalf of another immediate family member. We ask that applicants leave the signs in their yard as staff will be out in the next couple of days to pick them up. I would now like to ask my fellow commission members if they have had a chance to review tonight's agenda items, and do any of the members have a conflict of interest as defined by Section 6 of the Commission bylaws with any of these items? Hearing none, I would like to ask the staff if proper notification has been provided for each of the agenda items.
It has.
All right, we'll move on to the first application of the night.
All right, High Commission. Starting tonight, we have one case that is withdrawn. That is HPC 4324. Moving into our cases to be heard. First up, we have HPC 4224. Daryl Dollinger petitions for a certificate of appropriateness for new construction on the property located at 1917 University Boulevard. This is the Druid City Historic District, Council District 4. Here is that property from above, and where it's situated within its historic district. Here is that property today. This may look familiar to you all. You have heard this case before. At the time, it was for a demo and a reconstruction. Tonight, we're looking at that new construction. Here is the property to the east, to the west, and to the north. So getting into the proposal, like I said, this is for a new construction of a 2-story structure. There was a previously approved COA that included demolition. That demolition has been completed. There's no changes to that proposed new construction since that previous approval, and that's what we're looking at tonight. Again, here's that site as it is today with that demolition completed. And since we have some new commissioners, since this was first heard, we'll quickly go through those plans again. Here are those site plans. elevation from the road, elevation from the north, from the east, and to the west. For the materials, we're looking at brick and brick veneer, limestone detailing, steel for balcony, canopy, and rails, a metal roof, and aluminum-clad windows and doors. Here are those material specs. And getting into our applicable design guidelines here for new construction, original design character, generally for new construction, doors and windows, form and scale, windows again, window material, roofs, roof material, and that was our last one. Any questions for staff on this?
Seeing none, thank you. We invite the applicant to come to the podium and give his name and address for the record, please.
My name's Scott Russell. Evans Fitz has asked me to be DOA for him, just simply if you had any questions regarding the extension.
Are there any questions for the applicant?
What he told me today, I talked to him briefly, is that they're planning on doing the construction in this 6-month period. And the only reason they didn't get to it is because they were trying to make some decisions on what to do on the interior. And that was the reason for the delay to where they didn't get construction going in the first 6 months. So.
Any other questions? Thank you. I'll now open the floor to public comment. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or opposition to this application? Hearing none, I'll close the floor to public comment and open the floor to discussion by the commission. We have a standing motion to approve. So, seeing that, I'll begin voting on my right, please.
Yes.
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 Your application is approved. We appreciate your application and wish you good luck. If anything changes, please contact city staff and let them know.
All right, next up tonight, we have HPC 4424 Ginger Cruz petitions for a certificate of appropriateness for a design and material change to windows on the primary structure. This is at 4 Buena Vista in the Buena Vista Historic District, Council District 5. Here is an image of that property from above and where it's situated within that historic district. Here's an image of that subject property, the property to the north, to the south, and to the west. So getting into the proposal, the petitioner is asking to remove and replace 10 windows on the primary structure. The windows today are wood with wood trim. The proposed material is composite with an aluminum wrap. The current windows today are also double hung, and the proposed windows are casement. 3 of the windows are going to maintain that existing light pattern that's out there today, and 7 windows are proposing to change to no light pattern. There's no change to the number, location, or size of windows. Here again is that subject property. On this front facade, there are no windows that are proposed to be replaced. Looking at the rear of the house and kind of looking at it from this angle taken from the driveway, the first 4 windows we'll look at tonight are these here. For those windows, they're proposed to go to that casement style and to lose the grill pattern. There's an example on the right side of the screen. Looking again at the rear and on this right photo, moving to these 3 windows. Again, the first 2 on the left, those going to casement, no grills. The window on the right going to casement, maintaining that grill pattern that's there today. Looking down the side of the home at these two windows on the right, these two are also going to go to casement, but maintaining that existing grill pattern that's there today. For our last one, it's kind of tucked under this covered patio on the left side of the home here. Looking at that from the kitchen, that one's going to be casement, no grills as well. For the material, it's a composite with that aluminum wrap. Here are the material specs. I've underlined that grill pattern so you can see these first three are keeping that existing grill pattern that's there today shown on the right. The last one has that no grill, moving into the rest of those windows, losing that grid pattern that's there today, an example window on the right side of the screen. And that last one with no grill shown here, as well as additional performance specs. Here is just some more specs about that casement window design. And moving into our applicable design guidelines for windows and window materials. We did not receive any public comment on this. Do you have any comments for staff?
Seeing none, we'd like to invite the applicant to approach the podium and give his name for an address for the record, please.
I'm Cole Montgomery. I live at 4 Buena Vista.
Okay.
This is Jacob with Anderson Windows.
Thank you. What can you tell us about the case tonight? And is there anything you'd like to add to the staff presentation?
Looking at the rear view, the two windows to the left, to my left, are sunroom windows. That's why we wanted to remove the grills. The windows on the left from the driveway view, the four there are also sunroom windows, and we want to remove the grills on those as well. They're all wooden. This addition was built decades ago, I have no idea when, but they're all wooden and experiencing rot and inefficiency. That's why we want to change them out. We went with the grills on the right side because we know that's, visible to the neighbors. This is too, this side. This side here, the two bedroom windows. That's why we went with the grill pattern there.
I don't want to speak for the other commissioners, but the guidelines do state the maintaining of the grill pattern, the light patterns, and there's been a fairly strong precedent historically through that, no pun intended, through this commission for a desire to maintain such a light pattern. I'll let them speak to their kind of feelings about it during the debate. So we may call you back up to ask some more questions about that, unless they have those now.
Okay.
Any other questions for the petitioner?
We're talking about, I couldn't hear all of what you said.
I'm sorry.
We're talking about the casement windows
The
without the grill on the
lack of the
sunroom?
lights on the ones that you want to remove.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
You mentioned that most of the windows are on the walls of the sunroom. Is there a preference for casement for a sunroom? And what's the thinking?
We wanted to be able to roll them out to allow air movement. And the no grills is just because it is a sunroom. It's right off of our master bedroom, so we were kind of looking to maximize light penetration. The casement was just to allow ventilation on the corners, so that's why we wanted to do that. The grills are not a killer for me. I mean,
Or what?
if we had to go with the grills on the casement, it wouldn't bother me. We put in there what we would like.
Are all the windows that are being replaced going to casement? Did I read that? It's just whether or not they have the grills?
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know the details. My wife met Jacob. It's only two in the sunroom, right? Two corners.
Yeah, the two corners, but
Yes, everything is going to casements.
Yeah, it's just whether or not they've got the grill
Correct.
inset, right?
And you said that this sunroom is an addition, but you're not sure when it was built?
I have no idea, yeah. It's been there.
But
I
it
mean,
wasn't
the garage
additional?
is 6 feet in height, very narrow, so it's old, but I know it had to be an addition on the main structure at some point after it was built. And
Remind me of the date of the house itself,
I want to say 32,
42?
32.
32.
Yes, that was, whoever did it, it already had the roof on it, the way you've got the open porch on the left side. Somebody went in and framed in the right side and turned it into a sunroom. Because at one time you could tell it was all open just by looking under the garage.
I live in the house next door, and so a lot of those houses have been added to multiple times,
Yeah.
and we've got windows without light patterns that were there when we bought it, and I think it probably was on an addition, I don't know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So there's a precedent in that neighborhood to have different light patterns. I think everything in the fronts are pretty similar, but the backs all had add-ons.
Yeah, all the front windows were replaced before we bought it.
Sorry?
All the front windows were replaced before we bought it, years before we bought it. So it's just, these are the last remaining old double-hung windows.
Will any of the casements be seen from the street?
No, ma'am.
Any other questions?
On the photo, I guess that's the east side where the chimney is. Did I understand that the two windows on the left will be without grills and the one on the right will have grills, or all three of those will be?
No, the two on the left will not have grids, and the one on the right will have the
That's what I
grids.
thought. Okay. And will the grills or the mullions, will they be through and through, or are they one-sided, double-sided? Or
No, they will, we've got them.
are they removable or
as-
fixed? Or?
What's that, should I- FDL with spacers, so what that means is we'll have grids on the inside and outside.
Inside and outside?
Correct, and then in between the glass, it's just a little metal spacer that keeps the glass from hitting each other. There's a metal spacer that goes in between the two glasses, so if you have the wind and all that, it
Okay.
doesn't make a slapping sound.
But
with
it's
the-
interior and exterior, right?
Yes,
Sir.
yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Thank you. We may call you back up if we have additional questions.
Okay.
I'd like to now open the floor to public comment. Is there anyone here to speak in support of or opposition to the application? Seeing none, we'll close the floor to public comment and open the floor to discussion by commission members. I know the change in light pattern is always a discussion point on cases like this. I've heard the points related to context in the area, the fact that it's an addition. It appears to me that it may have at some point been open and then infilled. There's a lot of unknowns in the history of this. So I'd like to hear others' opinions related to this.
Also, this house opens out into the side of the arc, so there's not other houses looking at the back of these houses. So I live next door. This is the closest I've ever seen it. So the windows are not very visible.
Well, I know it's always a point of contentions on maintaining. I guess the pro on this application is it seems like they've hidden it very well. It's just on the back. It's a few few locations. Seems to be personal preference for the room inside, looking out the kitchen and the sunroom. And I don't know, I'm leaning to think that that's okay. Willing to hear others' opinions.
Beyond the guidelines, wanting the light patterns to remain, also the uniformity around the house, I think, is important to comment on, especially even back there on one specific side of the house, having two different types of light pattern seems not typical or preferenced.
Any other comments?
I think the fact that it's not visible from the street and that they are going on what already is an addition to the 1932 house makes up in some way for the discrepancy with the guidelines and what normally is our desire, which is to maintain the size and type of light pattern. But I'd be willing to consider this proposal favorably.
We have a standing motion to approve. So with that, we'll go ahead and begin voting on my left, please.
Yes.
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 Your application has been granted. You'll receive notification from staff, and if anything changes, please let us know, and good luck.
All right, Commission, next up, we have another window case. This is again Ginger Cruz petitioning for a certificate of appropriateness for a design and material change to a window on the primary structure located at 412 17th Avenue. This is the Pinehurst Historic District, Council District 4. Here is that property from above and where it's situated within that historic district. Here is an image of the subject property and its neighbor to the south. Looking at the proposal, the petitioner is asking to remove and replace one window on the primary structure. The current window is wood and wood trim. The proposed material is composite with aluminum wrap. The current window is also double hung, and this is proposed casement. The proposed window is going to maintain the light pattern that's there today, and there's no change to the number, location, or size of windows. Here again is that subject property. Again, no changes to the front facade windows. And looking at the rear, this is that window to be replaced. It's going to maintain that same grille pattern that's there today, but it's going to be casement rather than double hung. There's an example in the top right of what that window may look like. For our material, again, it's wood composite with that aluminum wrap. Here are those material specs for that window and our applicable design guidelines for windows and window materials. We did not receive any public comment for this one. Do you have any questions for staff?
Thank you. Hearing none, we would invite the applicant to come forward and give his or her name and address for the record, please.
I don't think the applicant's here. I'm not sure.
Or applicant's representative.
Yeah, they're an elderly couple, so I'm Jacob with Renewal. So I actually live in Birmingham.
Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to add to the staff's presentation?
Not really. We're doing this, like she said, the same grid pattern. We are gonna do the same way as those, the simulated divided light, so we have grills on the inside and outside. This window just does not have the spacer that goes in between the glass. But those do not have it either.
I'm sorry, what was that last part? They don't have-
The existing window does not have a spacer that goes in between the two pieces of glass, so we did not add that spacer in.
But the new windows will?
No, it does not either.
Okay, proposed windows don't, okay.
Any questions for the applicant? Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you cannot see that window from any street or anything. I mean, looking out, you're looking at a roof of somebody else's house, so, and they can't see that window either.
All right. We may call you back up, but thank you. I'll now open the floor to public comment. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or opposition to this application? Seeing none, we'll close the floor to public comment and open the floor to discussion by commission members. Seems like a very straightforward case, same light pattern, acceptable materials. All right, we have a standing motion to approve. With that, we'll begin voting on my right, please.
Yes.
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 Your application has been approved. Congratulations. You will receive notification. Please let city staff know if anything changes regarding the application, and good luck. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have HPC 4624, JPM Family Investments petitions for a certificate of appropriateness for a design change to the roof on the primary structure. This is at 33 University Circle in the University Circle Historic District, Council District 4. Here is that property from above and where it's situated in that historic district. Here is an image of the subject property, its neighbor to the south and to the west. Getting into the proposal, the petitioner is asking to remove and replace the 3-tab asphalt shingle with an architectural style asphalt shingle. Here again is that subject property. Here is an image of the roof today. And here is an image of 42 University Circle that is using that architectural asphalt shingle at that property. For the material, again, it's an architectural style asphalt shingle. Here are those material specs and our applicable design guidelines for roofs and roofing materials. We did not receive any public comment, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff? Thank you. I'd like to invite the applicant or applicant's representative to come forward, please, and state your name and address for the record.
I'm Scott Lindsay. I represent Priceman Gifford Construction Company, JPM Family Investments. I'm here. I live here in Tuscaloosa.
Is there anything you'd like to add to the staff's report?
No, she said it just exactly right. We just want to change the roof out, and that's it. So nothing else.
All right. Any questions for the applicant?
We just bought it, so we just want to do an upgrade, clean it up, make it look better.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I'll open the floor to public comment. Seeing none, we'll close the floor to public comment and open the floor to discussion by the commission members. Seems like an extremely straightforward case. We've approved this roofing material many, many times, and completely within the and no other modifications and within the guidelines. So I see no issue.
Agree.
All right. We have a standing motion to approve. With that, I will begin voting on my left, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Your application has been approved. We'll give you proper notification, And please let city staff know if there are any changes to the application. And good luck.
All right, next up, we have HPC 4724. Philip Weaver petitions for a certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a sign on the primary structure on the property located at 1824 University Boulevard. This is the Druid City Historic District, Council District 1. Here's an image of the property from above and where it's situated in that historic district. Here is an image of the subject property and its adjacent property to the east. For the proposal, the petitioner is asking to install a 24 by 196 inch sign on the front facade of the primary structure. The material is going to be aluminum letters that are painted black, and it's going to be illuminated by metal gooseneck lights. The letters are going to be flush from the side view. Here again is that subject property, and here is that proposed sign. Here are some other signs on the same block as this property. Again, for the material, it's going to be aluminum letters that are painted and those metal gooseneck lights. For our applicable design guidelines on signs and materials, we did not receive any public comment.
Any other questions for staff? Thank you. I'd like to invite the applicant to come forward, or applicant or applicant's representative to come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Philip Weaver, 1918 University Boulevard. We withdrew our request last month due to some feedback, and we feel like we've come back with a very conservative sign request. Any questions for me?
Seems like you've done some work on the front of the building. Is that just from the cleanup of the concrete?
We just pressure washed the concrete. That's all we've
And it
done.
looks great.
Thank you.
Impressive.
Thank you.
I will agree that this is definitely a much more historically appropriate within the guidelines application, so I appreciate the consideration.
Sure.
Any other questions? Comments? Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I'll open the floor to public comment. And I'll close the floor to public comment. Any additional discussion, questions, comments by the commission?
Yeah, like we said, I feel like this is a much more historically correct, and it's a good compromise.
Yeah, the lighting and the letters on standoffs is, a lot more common, particularly in that block, with the monochromatic look.
Seems appropriate to the architecture that's in place. Stylistic.
Any other comments? All right. We have a standing motion to approve. So with that, I will go ahead and begin voting on my right, please.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
All right. Congratulations. Your application has been approved. You'll receive notice. And please let staff know if anything changes with your application, and good luck.
All right, next up is HPC 4824. Kelly Fitz petitions for a certificate of appropriateness for the demolition of a garage to construct an accessory structure in addition to the rear of the primary structure and for exterior alterations to the primary structure at 31 Audubon Place. This is the Audubon Place Historic District, Council District 4. Here is an image of that property from above and where it's situated in that historic district. Here is an image of the subject property, the property to the south, to the north, and to the west. Getting into the proposal, this may look familiar to some of you. This request did come to you previously. That COA has expired, so they're coming back with some new changes to that previously approved COA for a new approval. So getting into the proposal, they want to remove the existing garage to replace with a carport. That design has changed since you last saw it. They also want to remove the existing shed roof and replace with an extended hipped roof. They also are looking to do an addition and add a covered porch. They're also adding stairs and landings to access that rear patio from the house. Continuing on with the proposal, they're also looking at replacing some fencing at the rear of the property line with a wood privacy fence, as well as install wrought iron fencing at that entrance to the rear yard and that south side yard. Lastly, they're looking to replace the block wall that's at that front sidewalk of the property and replace with a new stone wall. Getting into the proposal a little more here again is that subject property. Here is that from a different angle. You can see that retaining wall that they would like to replace. And I will say, since that previous request, the garage has been demolished. That did not receive a permit from us. It did receive your previous approval, but at the time of the demolition, that approval had expired. But today, that garage is not there, but you are approving that request to demolish the garage still. Getting into the site plan, here's that previously approved request versus that new request. It's pretty much exactly the same. Getting into some more site plans here, I put a box around that retaining wall. You can see they're going to go back with a single layer rather than the two-tiered like it was proposed previously. You can also see there's been some modifications to the addition. It's actually a little smaller than when it previously came to you for both that addition to the home as well as the porch. Looking at the interior plans, you can see there's a few changes on the bottom here. New windows were previously proposed. Now existing windows are going to remain. We also have a door to be removed up here and a new door location here. Oops, there we go. Looking at some elevations, you can see in the box from that front facade, that carport design has changed. Last time you saw it was enclosed, and now it's kind of an open pergola design. Looking at the south elevation, I've put boxes around the changes. You can see there's some changes to the window sizes as well as placement. And looking at the other side elevation here, again, that carport design changing to that open pergola, a new dormer being added to the roof there, as well as a door being removed for a window. And looking at the rear, you can see now there is no dormer being proposed, and we have several changes to that rear window and door placement on the bottom, as well as that carport. Getting into the materials, we have wood, hardy products, the roofing to match existing, windows and doors being aluminum clad, columns to be wood, a stone retaining wall, and the fencing to be wood or wrought iron. Here are our material specs. Getting into our applicable design guidelines here for additions. And our standards for rehab and alteration. Windows, fences and walls, detached garages and carports, and pergolas and pavilions, as well as that shed. And that was all for this one. We did not receive any public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Any questions?
I got a question. All the work that's been performed was already approved on a previous meeting? It's just a matter of the timing that it occurred?
That's correct.
Okay. But so nothing nothing that's changed has been built yet.
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. I'd like to invite the applicant or the applicant's representative to come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Scott Russell, Trick Construction.
Is there anything you'd like to add to the staff presentation?
No, sir. We're under a current, my brain's not working today. We have a current permit to where we've done some wood rot repair, replacement of a few windows on one of the elevations, some painting that have nothing to do with this. This kind of repairing the home prior to doing these things, so.
Can we go back to the site plan? So just to state for my understanding and all, the overall size of the addition and materials and everything like that, it's almost the same. It's slightly smaller, and most of this is just a result of interior reconfiguration and modifications.
That's correct.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you. I'd like to open the floor to public comment. Hearing none, I'll close the floor to public comment and open the floor to discussion by commission members. There is a lot going on here. I know we had a good bit of discussion previously related to this. And while there are several changes, it does seem to be fairly well cohesive with the previously approved application. All of the materials are acceptable. Any other comments, questions?
I guess I'd just like to add that every project seems to have a life of its own, and I'm sure there's reasons why the changes, and it's not totally unexpected. But I do like the fact that the footprint is still the same. I guess the biggest change is the look of the carport. I know we have approved pergolas for carports in the past, but I don't know if that merits further discussion.
There's more grass and less ground covering, which I'm always a fan of, with the removal of that back fireplace area. And then overall, the footprint's smaller, leaving more room for green space. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any other comments? All right, we have a standing motion to approve. I will begin voting on my left, please.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
your motion has been approved, or your application has been approved. Congratulations, you'll receive written notification of approval. Please let staff know if anything changes, and good luck.
All right, next up is HPC 4924, Mark Nix, petitions for a certificate of appropriateness for exterior alterations to the primary structure at 325 Queen City Avenue. This is the Druid City Historic District, Council District 4. Here is an image of that property from above and where it's situated in that historic district. Here is that subject property and its neighbor to the north. Looking at the proposal, the petitioner is asking to remove and replace that entrance stone threshold and front steps with concrete to match the stone that's there today. Here again is the subject property and a little more zoomed in version of those front steps to be replaced, as well as that threshold. Here's another shot. And that front threshold. Here are some photos the applicant submitted outlining that concrete to mimic limestone. And an example of the proposed finish. The material is concrete. And here are our applicable design guidelines for rehab and alteration. Oops. We did receive one public comment with concern about this proposal. Do you have any questions for staff?
Questions for staff? Thank you. I'd like to invite the applicant or applicant's representative to come forward and give your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Commission. My name is Nathan Gradeau. My address is 5615 Union Chapel Terrace, Northport, Alabama.
Is there anything you'd like to add to the staff presentation?
I don't think so. I know we've been ongoing with this, and we're trying to get back to a material that's going to look as the stone. So the process I think we're going to take is to cast those front steps and keep the profile of the stairs. And then on the threshold, it's just going to be a new piece of concrete, same size.
What will the specific finish of the concrete be? It's kind of hard to tell from that photo.
Yeah, we're going to match it as best as we can to the existing stone. Probably have some kind of pigment in it. Then we won't see any of the aggregate. It'll probably be smoothed to have a smooth finish and we won't see any aggregate.
Any other questions? I know we've talked about this a lot.
We have, and I think we all recognize the significance of the house in the history of Southern architecture as well as the history of Tuscaloosa. So I think
Yes,
we
ma'am.
all have an excessive, perhaps, stake in what happens here. We care about it.
Yes, ma'am.
I would ask if you'd talk to us a little bit more about what the plans are for making the cast of the stairs and doing the concrete replica.
My thought is that we take the stairs out and then we will either make a mold of some sort and follow that profile, or if there's some way that we either machine the profile in there. The point I'm trying to make is we're going to try to match the profile as best as possible for the stairs. Of course, on the threshold, it's just a block piece. There's nothing real special about that as far as the profile is concerned.
Have you been in touch with anybody who specializes in this kind of concrete mold?
Not currently. I've talked to some masons about it, but I haven't been able to find anybody specifically yet.
Does the work you're talking about on the threshold, it necessitates taking out the current block that's there? Is that correct?
Yes.
So the current block from the side lights all the way across the door to the other side light, that whole block
The whole block will
material
come out.
will have to be removed.
Yeah, because it's all.
Is it a single unit, or is that, what is that block?
As far as I know, I believe it's one single block.
Of limestone?
And it
Yes.
ends, I don't think it is limestone, but, and it ends at the end of the side light panel.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't have to cut through,
No.
yeah.
It definitely appears that there needs to be a lot of care given in profile and as well as color for that, because you can tell that not only is there a lot of variation throughout each of these materials, but also from one to the other. So I think there needs to be a significant amount of care given to how this will be constructed.
Yes.
Not that there would be any opposition directly to the material itself so much as the intent and care that really this deserves. I think it's been stated multiple times through these cases.
Certainly.
And what's your understanding of what the material is of the current stairs?
It looks to be limestone. It kind of breaks like limestone, so I haven't had a study to confirm any of that or anything, but
The reason I ask is that the historian, architectural historian, Robert Malone, says that they're not limestone. They
Okay.
are a locally available sandstone,
Sandstone.
which is much more crumbly and accounts for not only the deterioration here, but in other William Nichols buildings, because he couldn't get the limestone locally that he had gotten elsewhere.
Yeah.
Another question, are there plans to save the original stairs?
Yeah, we're not going to dispose of them.
You would save them on the property?
There'll be some sort of repurposing to those, yeah.
It would seem to me appropriate, because part of our guidelines require for historic elements not to be disposed of.
Would that also include the block at the threshold? I mean, you don't really know if that's going to come out as one piece or what. Is that correct?
I'm not certain how that, I mean, we'll try our best to save it, and it'll stay, we'll repurpose it some way.
Have you considered replacement with stone for the threshold?
The owner has looked at that. It's tough to say about matching the stone to get it exactly. I think there's a issue with pricing of it as well. The concrete seems to be a little bit more in their budget for to fix it.
Any other questions for the applicant's representative? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to open the floor to public comment. Seeing none, close the floor to public comment and discussion by the commissioners. I know this is a tough one related to the detail of this and its significance, and also the amount of attention that everyone has for it,
Yeah.
and our knowledge of its history directly.
Well, I see the safety issues, and part of it has to do with the little lip that's on each of the stairs, and the fact, because it's a tripping hazard. But the other thing is the crumbling nature of the sandstone. The whole point is that the color and design of it with those curls at the end on the first level are significant and need to be captured in the new stairs, however they're made. And preferably that these stairs, though they will take up a lot of space, should be preserved, preferably on the property.
I think to address that point further, that, you're right about the volutes, the curls at the end or whatever, and they're next door at the University Club too. And I think in that, it appears to me that the material is different at the University Club than it is here at the Ormond Little House. I'm uncertain if the stairs at the University Club were replicated when Don Buell Schuler redid that structure. And if you look at them, they kind of look like tombstone or granite, like what you see at the graveyard, they look like that. And I think that's why my question about this, even for me, more so than the fact that they need to be replaced, I just am uneasy about the material. For some reason, it's the material that grabs me. I'm not even, like I said, I don't know that we have any documentation, but the stairs, in my opinion, at the University Club were probably replicated by Schuler when the major rehaul was done there. But they were done accurately, but they appear to be solid granite, and I think it's the material here in both cases, at the threshold and at the stairs, that I question. Not the replacement so much for safety and keeping all the design things and the color, but I think all that can be done. But the material, have questions.
Completely understand.
Yeah. This is just such a model property, when you look at the history of Tuscaloosa. And we actually spent the weekend out in Mount Vernon, and so they were doing some live replication and stuff like that. And you think about the age of that property and what great condition it's in and how much care people have taken for that property. And
So
I
this
think-
one's almost 200 years old.
And, just making sure that we get this right is important. And I think we just struggle with what's that definition of right. And I don't know that I like you said, I don't know what it is, but I don't feel like we have enough information to risk removing, these pieces. I don't know, I just don't feel extremely educated and confident with our options right now.
And I think I hear you saying in that, like I do, that it's not that we can't get there, it's just might not be the right time right now. There's just not enough out there about it. I feel like there's already been some problems happen here, and we don't need to replicate that further by making yet another error in judgment.
So what would reassure us, I guess, is the question.
Would
What
you
are we
like to,
looking
would you
for?
like to come back up and address any of these questions or comments?
I'm not, whatever reassurance you might need, I don't know if you need me to submit some sort of plan for the process of making the new steps. I can do that, if that helps.
It would help, I think it would help me to know
Okay.
that you had contact with somebody who's done this before or who knows about the process and can offer reassurances to you and the owner as well as us.
Okay.
Because it's a premier building, this is the entranceway, this is an important moment historically in the maintenance of the building.
Potentially something along the lines of an example of steps
Yes.
that have been formed in this material with some intricate detail as opposed to the example that's been given thus
Sure.
far.
Yeah, not a problem.
I think material for me, it's actually, if I can't see it, that I have a better visualization of what it's going to look like in the finished form.
Yes, sir.
And I just can't tell.
Certainly, yeah.
And Dr. Davis, you may not know this, but when Robert or Dr. Malone looked at this, do you know if he has any contacts?
He does.
He does.
Okay.
He
That may
does,
be-
and if you're interested in the name, I can give it to you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, and one of the things Dr. Malone said was, to your point about the color and the resemblance to these, that somebody who was really good at this kind of concrete making would mix the color in when the concrete is wet so that it's all the way through, so when it wears, it will be the same color going down. It's not gonna
Yeah, it's full of
discolor over the years.
pigmentation through the whole concrete.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you can control the color very, very easily. So, I mean, it's what really good concrete people do all the time for footings and bases of statues and things of that sort.
Correct, yes, ma'am, yeah.
So I have a question for staff. Were we to deny this application, then it would be a 6-month period without major changes, and that would require a significant change of something. I'm hearing that there may be a potential avenue to through this additional information. So forgive me for not being your typical chairperson. What do we need to do related to any discussion related to a continuance?
I think the cleanest way to do it would be that if the applicant feels after the commission's discussion that there is that they would not like the commission to decide on the item tonight and wants to request a continuance, then they can come back to the October meeting with a more detailed plan.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
That works, yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay. So, does that serve as a request for continuance?
Yes.
Would you like to formally ask for me to ask for a continuance on this application? I would like to have a continuance on this
Okay.
application, please.
I just want to make sure the record states it properly. We have received a request for continuance of this application to the October meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve, or a motion for a continuance?
Yes, second. Or first motion, whatever.
Motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll begin voting for continuing this to the October meeting. On my right, please.
Yes.
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 This motion is continued. We will see you again next month.
Thank you.
All right, last one tonight, we have HPC 5024, Mark Nix petitioning for a certificate of appropriateness for the construction of an addition on the primary structure. This again is at 325 Queen City Avenue, Druid City Historic District, and Council District 4. Here again is that subject property from above and where it's situated in that historic district. Here's an image of the property again, and its neighbor to the north. So the proposal is to construct a 4-foot addition on the north elevation of the primary structure. The slope of the roof that's there today will change to accommodate that addition. The overhang will match that existing design and distance that's there today. The materials include brick and roof shingles, both to match the existing, and as well as some doors and windows that you all previously approved with HPC 3124. There'll also be brick entrance steps to match existing. Here again is the subject property. The addition is looking at this side, that north elevation of the home. Here is that just again from a different angle, taken from the front of that property. Here are some elevations showing the existing and proposed. And to just zoom in on that proposal, you can see here those windows and doors you previously approved, the change in slope for that roof, as well as about 10 inches of new framing added to this right side here. Oops, let's see, there we go. This is again another elevation just showing what that addition is going to look like from the front of the property. You can see it here. So it's again a 4-foot addition. For the materials, again, brick and roofing to match what's there today. Those previously approved windows and doors, and brick steps to match existing. Here are our applicable design guidelines for additions. Rehab and alteration. As well as windows. We did receive one public comment with concern about this proposal. Do you have any questions for staff?
Doesn't look like we have any. Thank you. Like to invite the applicant or applicant's representative to come forward and state your name and address.
Good afternoon again, Commission. My name is Nathan Rideau. My address is 5615 Union Chapel Terrace, Northport, Alabama.
Is there anything you'd like to add to the staff's presentation?
I don't think so. The only thing is the addition is to accommodate the reworking of the kitchen. And the addition of the kitchen was originally, I think, in 95 or 96, so it's not old in a sense. So that's all I have to add.
Are there any questions for the applicant?
I do have a question. The wall that will be taken out in order to create the 4-foot bump out, is it structural?
It is structural for the roof above. Yes, ma'am.
But it's not part of the original house?
No, that originally was a porch. And from my research, like I said, in, I think 94, 95, whenever the kitchen was added on.
So you're not worried about it collapsing or anything?
No, not at all, no. Yeah, the only thing, we'll have to rework the roof slope so that it goes back to the existing point on the, what I'm gonna call the older part of the existing part of the home.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Open the floor to public comment. Seeing none, close the floor to public comment and open the floor to discussion by commission members. The fact that this is a later addition definitely gives me a little bit more in the way of ease about it. The fact that it's already has that other portion of the house on the rear that's for it to extend into, and it doesn't protrude beyond the overall form of the whole structure, definitely makes it less obtrusive, in my opinion. Any other comments? All right. We have a standing motion to approve. So with that, we will begin voting on my left, please.
No.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. With 5 affirmative votes and 1 dissenting vote, your application has been granted. You'll receive written notification of the approval. Please let staff know if anything changes with the application, and good luck.
All right, Commission, and other business, we've had 8 approvals expedited since our last meeting.
All right. Good enough. Thank you, everyone. This concludes this meeting for September of 2024. We stand adjourned.